endorsed me. You must really hate her. No, it's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
No, that's why he's a great politician.
So you saw that and you thought what?
Ridiculous.
You know, many people think that he's vying to be a VP pick. We'll see. But what did you think when you saw that? I just love you.
Well, this notion that if he makes him VP, that black people are going to rush to the polls and vote for him, he's 100% incorrect.
In this round, here's Quandell X.
Charles, I watched a segment, wasn't even a segment, but I was watching the results of the New Hampshire primary. And I saw former President Trump come before the country and to celebrate his victory in New Hampshire. And behind him was South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. And brother Tim Scott, one of the most boot-licking, head-bowing, knee-bending, behind-kissing, scratch where he don't itch, laugh when nothing is funny, sell out, put back folks back there, and the pick cotton Negro I've ever seen in my life. Tim Scott was asked by former President Trump, Nikki Haley appointed you to be senator. You must truly hate her to endorse me. And then you see Tim Scott looking like Steven on Django, looking like Chicken George from Roots, looking like Fiddler and Uncle Tom from Roots. This Negro does this. No, I don't hate her. I just love you. This Negro looked like Trump had given him a big basket, a bucket of fried chicken, and 3 extra buttered biscuits for the way he acted. Then to watch our brother Charles Barkley come before the world and say, that was ridiculous. Well, Charles, dear brother, you and Tim Scott are birds of a feather. Both of you bald-headed Negroes should be ashamed of your representation of black people. Charles Barkley has made disparaging remarks about black women compared to white women. Charles Barkley has made disparaging remarks about black culture and black people and black leaders. And so, Mr. Barkley, if you offended with Mr. Scott, and we all should be, I say, Mr. Barkley, take a look in the mirror, because neither one of you Negroes could ever dare call us speaking for black people, not even for some of us. So I'm upset with Mr. Scott, and I'm still disappointed with Mr. Barkley.
You know, I think there's a lot of bigotry going on here, but I don't think it's a typical type of bigotry. I think it's ideological bigotry. If a black politician told Joe Biden that they loved him, everybody like, oh, that's sweet. We wouldn't hear Gail talking about it. We wouldn't hear Sir Charles talking about it. Everyone would just go on with their day. But because Tim Scott is a conservative supporter of Trump, everybody's going to demonize him. But I really didn't expect it. When we're talking about what we're going to talk about today, I didn't expect you to care about this, because I see your MAGA hat sitting over there off the damn stage. You love you some Donald Trump. But yet you're going to sit on here with these cameras and sit here and condemn Tim Scott for doing the same. And that's insane. And Charles Barkley famously in the 90s said, you know what, I'm not a role model. I'm a basketball player. He's flirted, he's been a Republican, he's been a Democrat. But one thing Charles Barkley has always done is he's always authentically spoken his voice and his truth. And I'm not going to say he's always right, because nobody's always right, nobody's always wrong. But when you got it from Charles Barkley, you knew it was no BS. Now here, he's criticizing Tim Scott, and I think he believes that. I think he personally believes that Tim Scott was just a bootlicker and sucking up to Donald Trump. But the truth is that most people in Tim Scott's position, most politicians that have thrown their support behind a presidential candidate, are liable to say the exact same stuff he did. And the only reason you're being critical of him, the only reason you're calling these horrible racialized names, is because of the color of his skin. Well, you're sitting here being Charles, bigoted and self-loathing, and it's obscene.
Let me first address your nature.
Okay, my nature as a white man?
Your nature.
My nature as a white man. Let's hear it. Let's hear my nature as a white man.
Your nature is a grafted nature from Yaqub. But anyway, we'll talk about
that
another segment.
Wait, from what? Wait, from what?
From Yaqub. Okay. We'll talk about that another segment.
Oh, another segment where you can demonize the demon white folk.
To the American people.
Demon white folk.
That I have a MAGA hat. I've never owned one in my life.
Oh, come on.
But I have snatched a few MAGA hats off a few white heads.
No, you haven't.
But I will say this,
You are voting for Trump.
Tim Scott Scott
are in love
should
with
be
Donald
ashamed
Trump.
of himself. Tim Scott, if Joe Biden, to take what's your analogy, if Joe Biden had a black senator behind him that said the same exact thing to a black senator that Trump said to Tim Scott, and that Negro senator, Democrat, started smiling like that and buck dancing and said, I just love you, I'd say the same exact thing about that sellout when address a Negro also, because Joe Biden is a racist. Do your history. Do your research on this man. Joe Biden is an absolute racist. There's no hiding it. The Democrats have done a very good job in tricking black people into believing, oh, he's changed. He's not the same person he used to be. That old racist white boy is who he is and what he's always been, a racist toward black folk. And he said it on the campaign trail, if you're not black, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Who in the hell are you, Joe Biden, to say something like that or make that analogy toward black people? So I don't care about any one of them. But what I do care about is that men like Charles Barkley and Tim Scott have done more damage, like Clarence Thomas, to the survival and upliftment of the black race.
That is absolutely obscene. It is the suggestion that black America isn't allowed, especially as a conservative like you are, isn't allowed to publicly espouse conservative values is obscene. Black people can support whatever
That ain't what Tim
ideology they
Scott
want.
did.
Hey, look, here's the thing.
Let me show you what Tim Scott did.
Here's the thing. We're talking about.
I just love you.
Well, you know what? But the
I
truth
love
is,
you, Master.
The truth
Master
is,
Trump, I love
Joe
you, Master
Biden wouldn't
Trump.
even have
That's
on
what
the
he did.
stage. If
That's
we'll
exactly
remember,
what he did.
during the last Democratic primary, because they're not having one now because they're just anointing Biden.
Donald Trump looked like a slave master, and Tim Scott looked like his favorite slave.
If you'll remember Kamala Harris's criticism of Joe Biden, it was absolutely appropriate. He is a racist, and you're a bigot too.